Alright YouTube, so the Fallout 76 beta has came and gone. It's finally over. We're less than a week away from the launch of the game. So I figured I'd do what probably a lot of YouTubers out there are doing and just give my final thoughts on the game before we actually get to the release. So similar to my first impressions video, before we even get into it, I had fun, man. I had fun playing this beta. Every hour, all the time I put into playing the beta, I was engaged, man. I was having fun just running around questing. I've explored very little of the map. I'm, in my level 20s already. And I haven't even engaged a lot of the enemies. We know there's like 60 or 70 something different enemies in this game, or at least animals, creatures, whatever. And I've maybe seen, I don't even know if I've seen 20 so far. I've seen one Deathclaw, which I beat. If you happen to follow me on Twitter, you did see that I sent out one of the photo mode images where I actually did find a Deathclaw, and I defeated it. It wasn't really that difficult, because I was able to hit him and evade where he couldn't fight me. And then near the end of the fight with him, I was trying to be a little ballsy, and he came up and hit me pretty damn hard. So the Deathclaws are quite strong in this game, but the one that I've found so far, I did defeat. I've also fought the Flatwoods monster. I've also fought a Grafton monster. I've seen a Scorch Beast a few times, but I've never engaged just because it's level 50, and I played the game a lot solo during the beta, so it's not something I could probably take by myself. If I was in a group with some decent, level 20s or something just like me, we could probably take it, because levels don't really seem to matter. That's also kind of a flaw with this game that I've heard some people talk about, but I've also not heard enough people talk about it. It's like, you can be level 10 and take out level 20 enemies solo, and I don't think that should be the case, at least not easily. I mean, yeah, if you're really good at the game, then yeah, you should be able to take out an enemy that is stronger than you, but they're not really dishing out as much damage as they should anyway, being that they're twice your level, and they're not really smart AI regardless, so it's not like a victory to really be proud of, because the AI is still kind of dumb in this game at times. Speaking of that, we'll get that out of the way really quickly if we can. The technical issues for the game definitely need to be fixed. Frame rate, freezing, dumb AI, stuff like that. It's not really unique to me. Everybody's experiencing that, and everybody can agree that needs to be fixed. That's the issue there, is I don't think that it's going to be fixed by launch. I think the game's going to feel the same at launch as it does during the beta. And if you guys disagree, just remember that the Fallout 4 Boston area, the frames are still horrible there. They haven't fixed that shit after 3+ years of the game. So if you think that this shit's going to be fixed by launch, it's not going to be. And we've had this conversation before, man. Just because the game is in beta doesn't mean it gets a free pass for all of its problems. We've had almost 100 gigabytes of update during the beta, and these technical issues still persist. I don't even know what they're doing with these updates, so they definitely need to be fixed, man. But it won't happen at launch. I don't even know if it's going to happen near after launch. It probably, if it can even fix it, it's probably going to be a while. The gameplay to me is pretty great. It's exactly like Fallout 4, obviously, because it's built off the Fallout 4 multiplayer, and they use a lot of Fallout 4's assets. But if you liked Fallout 4, I've said this before, if you like Fallout 4's gameplay, you're going to like this game. If you didn't, you're not going to like this game, probably. Since we're discussing the gameplay, we'll move on to the customization. When it comes to the weapons, there was a lot more than I was expecting. There are so many mods and attachments to the guns and the weapons, and it was almost overwhelming a little bit, because there's so many different receivers that give you the exact same damage, but they do different effects for the gun, and I like that. That was one of my main complaints with Fallout 4 when it came to modding your weapons, is at the end of every list, there's almost always an attachment that was a combination of all the previous ones. And so far, at least, mid to early game, it doesn't seem to be the case. It seems like you actually have to choose between your attachments. You can get a receiver that gives you the same amount of damage as a previous one, but this one might give you better recoil, or this one might give you superior bash damage. I hope that remains the same throughout the rest of the game, because I hate when there's a big arrow pointing hey, this is the best attachment in this category. That frustrates me. When it comes to the armor in this game, I haven't found anything interesting yet. Obviously, I can still craft leather armor. You get that at the very beginning of the game. But even now, through my extensive gameplay, my many hours, 20-something levels, I only have the leather armor still. The metal arms, I can craft metal arms, and trapper legs. If you guys remember the trappers from Far Harbor. That's it. That's all I have so far. So that's kind of frustrating. I don't know if that's everybody's experience or just mine, but I've yet to find a lot of armors to craft, so I don't know how interesting that stuff is. But when it comes to the crafting of weapons and armor, I absolutely love that when you scrap copies of the weapons or armors, that's how you unlock the mods. When I get a stack of hunting rifles or pump shotguns in my inventory, I'm excited to hit a bench to scrap them, obviously to drop my carry weight, but also the potential of unlocking a good mod. A little more on the crafting. I do enjoy being able to craft our ammo again. That's something that I missed that you could do in New Vegas. I didn't do it a whole lot, but I did use it a little bit in New Vegas. It was kind of missed in Fallout 4. I'm glad that it's in this game, because I make a ton of shotgun shells and other stuff like that. The cooking, I don't really care that much about, but I do it because I have to. It is a little bit annoying at times. It wasn't bothering me that much in the early days of playing the beta and stuff like that, playing the game. But now that I've put a lot of time into it, it does get a little bit frustrating at times to have to eat food or drink water or whatever. It can be an inconvenience here and there. which I suppose is kind of the point, but it does seem like it's almost an unnecessary feature. I was in disagreement with people that were saying this in the early days, but now I'm kind of in agreement to the point that it's like, why? We don't really need the survival mechanics in this game, to be honest. Still, after all this time, I do not even care at all about the camp or settlement, whatever you want to call it. I literally just use it for my crafting benches. And by the way, they were pretty wrong when they're promoting this game. When it comes to building your camps, you cannot build them anywhere you want to. For one, at any named location, you can't just put your camp down in the middle of flatwoods. They do not allow that. And you kind of have to go on the outskirts of towns into the wooded area if you want to be able to build it all. Maybe a bit controversial here, but I just don't even see the point of the camps either. I use it strictly just for the crafting benches. I don't see what the need would be to ever sit around and build up my camp with buildings and turrets and all this other stuff. It just seems kind of pointless. It almost seems similar to the survival mechanic, almost just like a feature they threw in there just to have something to do, because I really don't see the point of it. There's plenty of crafting benches. I found this power armor station. It lets me scrap stuff right here. There's probably other crafting benches around this location. You actually don't even really need your camp in this game, because I rarely ever use it except for breaking down my equipment and remodding my weapons. The questing of the game. I talked about this before, I believe, with my first impressions video. It is quite linear, and I'm not getting immersed in any of the quests. Part of that, I will admit, for me at least, is the limited time we have with the beta. Some days the beta is only 2 hours. I'm not going to spend, 5 to 10 minutes going through everything that's in a terminal when I have a limited time to play the game. So that's part of it, but I'm kind of drowning out the holotapes as well. I listen to them, I play every holotape I find, but I'm not really that invested in what the holotape is saying. So the questing is quite linear, but that also isn't a detrimental thing in my opinion. I don't personally care. I played Elder Scrolls Online a lot. That game has the most linear quests, and I don't mind it because I'm all about the character progression and the exploration with some of these games. So I don't really care whether or not the quest is linear or if it's an in-depth quest or whatever, because I'm just trying to get the experience and rewards from the quest. I really don't care what the hell I'm doing. The exploration of the game is its strongest feature, in my opinion, is the main reason I was picking up this game, even though I knew some of the aspects of it were going to be linear. I just wanted to explore the gigantic map, and it's been pretty rewarding so far, even if I'm not finding things like good loot necessarily. I still enjoy exploring some of these new locations. And something that caught me by surprise that I didn't expect to be enjoying is the photo mode for this game. I was not expecting to actually even partake in it. But once I kind of started messing with it, I actually enjoy it. I've taken a handful of pictures, not a whole lot. And to be honest, I kind of laughed at people that shared it on social media. Not really in an asshole way. I just never really understood it. Never really cared to take an in-game picture or whatever I'm doing and post it on Twitter or something. But I actually have been doing that with this game. And that's kind of something that caught me by surprise. Anyways, guys, I think that'll pretty much be the video. We touched on a little bit of everything. There's still tons to do, man. There's still tons of weapons and armors I haven't found. Enemies, locations I haven't explored, so there's still a lot for me to do. I don't know for how long this game is going to be fun after launch, but regardless, I do see myself putting a lot more hours into this game once the game drops on November 14th. Even though I really enjoy the game, I have fun playing it, I still don't know for sure that I can recommend it. It's not one of those games where I'm like, yeah guys, it gets a thumbs up for me, go out and buy it. I think you gotta have a specific taste. There's a niche audience for this game. You have to either really enjoy this style of game or have wanted a multiplayer Fallout. So I don't know that I can say, yeah, it's worth your $60 yet. I don't know. Either way, guys, you have my final thoughts before the game launches on November 14th. Quick side note, if you're on Xbox, you can pre-download the game today. Thought I'd throw that in there really quickly. As always, give me your thoughts below in the comment section. How did you enjoy the beta of Fallout 76? And if you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you guys are new, turn on notifications, follow me on Twitter at TheDashingDavid, at my Discord, links to my social networks are in the description and in the outro. Later, guys.
Give me forever for a while, give me forever for a while. Quit acting like a baby, or at least less like a child. Give me serenity.